Hi everyone. This video is the first video in a series of videos where we're going to talk about how to put your best foot forward when you are applying for your business school program. Now, the GMAT is an important metric for sure, but it's not the only metric that schools use to evaluate candidates and to decide who gets an admission. There are several other factors that are taken into consideration. Some important factors include your resume, your application essays or your personal statement, your letters of recommendation, and how you perform in a personal interview. But there is one thing that you need to know that sort of underlies all of these elements that contribute to your evaluation. And that is how well you understand the business school that you are applying to. It's only when you understand the business school properly will you be able to put the best foot forward, will you be able to curate all of these other elements such that it appeals to what the business school is specifically looking for. So that's what we are going to focus on in these videos. So why do you need to research business schools? How do you go about researching business schools? An introduction is what we are focusing on in this particular one. Now, if you have not started your GMAT preparation, then you can use these QR codes. I'm going to turn to the side so you can pause the video. We have live online classes that happen over Zoom, and you will be interacting with the faculty members, including me, and you will be learning sort of live, right? And then you have the self-paced course, which is a library of video lessons, and then you have practice tests, etc. You can use the QR code to either sign up for a free class for the live online program, or you can sign up as a trial user. You have the details on the screen. So if you're just kicking off the GMAT preparation, then please check that out. If you are already going through your GMAT preparation or you're done with the GMAT, then let's focus on the rest of the video. Right? All right. Why do you need to research business schools? One of the things that people do when they are applying to business schools is decide which schools they are applying to based on the ranking of the school. I want to apply to a top 10 program. I don't think I want to apply to a top 10 program. I want to apply to a program that's ranked around 25, 30, and so on and so forth. Now we base this on the ranking, therefore the reputation of the school, which is very important when it comes to your ultimate career outcomes. But the rankings don't paint the entire picture. Just because a program is highly ranked does not mean it has to be highly ranked for you, for your specific career goals. Let's take a random example. Let's say you want to have a career in sustainability. Now, a program that is top ranked need not necessarily be top ranked for an MBA in sustainability or clean tech or something like that. Most of these programs will offer some sort of sustainability elective or a certification that you can take, but then how does that contribute to the career outcome? What sort of recruiters come on campus might vary from school to school. Which means if you just look at the rankings and you try and analyze and just say, oh, I'm going to apply to a top 10 business school, it might not make a lot of sense for you in terms of helping you achieve your ultimate career goals. So one of the reasons we really need to do in-depth research on the business school is so that we understand all of these different aspects of the program and we are able to tailor those aspects to our specific career needs. What I'm looking for an MBA program will be very different from what you are looking from an MBA program. We might decide to end up applying to the same business school eventually, yes, but there will be different aspects of the business school that appeal to us. Which means when we are actually writing our application essays, when we are preparing for the interviews, one of the things the schools look for is how well you are able to connect with what the school offers. Which means I need to talk about the specific aspects of the school that appeal to me, and you need to talk about what appeal to you. If we don't have that messaging clear and resounding in our application process, then the schools will understand that you have not done your research, and that could have sort of a negative implication on your ultimate application and your chances of admission. So these are the whole reason and the logic behind why you need to research your business schools in a lot more detail. All right, so then what are we going to talk about next? How do you go about researching the business schools? In fact, this part of the video, we're going to be dividing across multiple videos. We are going to be talking about how to research business schools effectively, some do's and don'ts in our next video as well. But in that video, we're going to focus on how should you be researching the business school through conversations you have with people. Those could be conversations with students, with alumni, with admission directors. In this video, let's talk about the first stage in your research process. This first stage in your research process is not going to be a one-on-one call with an admission director. Now, if you just randomly send an email to a school and say, hey, I want some time, I want to understand the program, they may or may not be available for that call, depending on how much you convey as to what you know about the program. We send an email saying, I want to know if you accept the GMAT score, whether you accept the GRE score, and so on. These would be blatantly available information on the school's website, which basically means you're conveying to the school, I want everything spoon-fed for me. I can't bother opening a browser and doing my own research by clicking on the school's website. And that doesn't send a good message to the school, does it? So what are the first couple of things that you can look at to gather enough information on your own so that from that you can leverage what sort of discussions you're going to have with the admission committee? The first thing that you need to be doing is to start with some easy data collection. Now, the three things usually available as a download on the school's website can also be simply a website page on the school's program information website. Number one is the class profile. Class profile data is crucial for you to determine whether you have the data points that the school is looking for in terms of average GPA, average GMAT score, average years of work experience. It helps you better determine whether, given what you have in terms of your GMAT score and GPA and years of experience, do you have a good chance of getting an admission from the school, and therefore should you spend time and energy in applying to the program. The second thing that you can get for sure on the school's website is its placement data. Now, it could be called a placement report, it could be called an employment statistics or an employment report, but these are going to talk about, where do their students typically go and get placed, and what sort of job opportunities do they end up seeking after graduating from the MBA program. So they can also be called your MBA outcomes or career outcomes or post-MBA career outcomes. Now, this gives you an understanding of what sort of industries or functions are popular with that particular business school, what sort of reputation does it have, and therefore where are its resources most aligned. This helps you evaluate, is that what I want from my career as well? Is that what I am seeking as an outcome? And therefore, will applying to this business school make sense for me in the long term in terms of my ability to make the career switch that I am looking for? And of course, you should be able to get the school's brochure. The brochure will probably have a little bit of details on the class profile, a little bit of details on the placement report as well. But beyond that, it's going to talk about other academic and other qualitative aspects of the program. So it might have information on student life, it might have information on the different certifications and the centers that you have that are associated with the business school. So back to our example on sustainability, if you are looking for a program that offers some sort of sustainability specialization, then the brochure will tell you whether they have a center for sustainability research and clean tech or something like that. And schools that usually have such centers or offer that extra certification may end up giving you an edge if that's a specific career path that you are looking at. So these are three data points that you can collect, actually sets of data that you are collecting on each business school that you have any interest in, and this is going to lay the framework to understand, one, do you have the GMAT score, the experience, what are your chances of getting an admission based off that? Will the school give you the career outcomes that you are looking for, both in terms of the statistics as to what industry and function people are getting into, and what sort of experience are you likely to have as part of the MBA program? You might still have some lingering questions that are still considered fundamental. Can I ask for a GMAT waiver? Can I submit my application and then submit my GMAT score a couple of days later? Do I have to get some test of English language proficiency such as the IELTS or the TOEFL? And these questions are still considered fundamental by most admission directors because most schools on their admissions page will have an FAQ page that's linked to it. And in the FAQ page, they would have answered all of these questions. For example, in the class profile, if you're seeing, average GMAT scores based on the classic edition of the GMAT, they in the FAQ might have added, what you see in the class profile page, that's the actual statistics that we had based on the students who submitted their applications. Those are people who submitted and applied with a classic GMAT score. That translates to an average score of approximately this if you are applying with the Focus Edition. And that information might be there on the FAQ page already, which means you don't have to necessarily ask it as a question. What is the application fees, etc. So once you have gathered the basic information and then you have gone through the FAQ pages, you now have, most of the information that's available on the website is now available to you, which means any further questions you ask should be questions that you are ignorant about, which means those are not obviously available information on the website. Your questions are going to have that much more depth to them. And adcoms absolutely appreciate you doing enough research that you're asking deeper questions, more personalized questions, more structured questions. At that stage, you are ready to do the next step in your research process, and that is when you start attending virtual events, you start attending in-person events. Now, of course, virtual events that introduce the program will also walk you through some of these aspects. So if you're not the kind who likes to read a PDF, but you're the kind who likes to, attend a Zoom meeting and listen to someone talking to you through something, then all the information that you're gathering, most of the information that you're gathering from your research can also be gathered through these virtual events and webinars that they are organizing. When you go to in-person events and you want to now leave an impression and you want them to remember you, that's when you don't ask the basic questions. You can still listen, you can still understand the program in a lot of detail in an in-person event, but maybe don't ask any questions if you're not sure whether it's blatantly available on the website. So what is the etiquette when it comes to networking with the admission directors when you are in an in-person event, when you are in a virtual event? What can you say, what can you not say, what can you ask, what can you not ask? All of that is going to be the content of our next video. What I want to leave you with though is this information about an upcoming in-person event. Now, over the course of these videos, as we walk through how to do things, we're also going to keep you informed of the different events that are happening in the upcoming next couple of weeks timeline, because this might feel a little early in the process even if you're applying for round 1, because the round 1 deadlines are in October, but it's never too early to start your research. There are people who start their research even a year ahead of their actual application. So even if they're applying for the next season, when they have the time, they will start gathering information. So it's never too early to start research. It can be a little too late to start your research, so I don't want you to push this close to the deadline. This is something you need to start now so that you're able to start curating the content for the application essays. At that stage, when you're sitting down to write your application essays, you can't be thinking about, wait, what do I know about the school program? That should be information that you already have on hand. So I will keep you informed of other events that are coming up over the next couple of weeks. But this is definitely an interesting event. There are some fantastic schools that are participating. This is a program focused on programs in the US. So you can learn about STEM MBA programs. I'll also link a video in the description about what STEM MBA programs are and why they are useful. So you can watch the video and then you can go attend the event to be better prepared, to have your expectations in the right place. So these are just some of the logos that you see. You have Berkeley House, you have McCombs, you have Duke Fuqua, you have Michigan Ross, you have NYU Stern. You have Tepper, you have lots of fantastic schools that are coming in person to India in these 5 cities in this month. So please register for this ASAP, as I've also been told that the seats are filling up fast. Right. Okay. Now, what else can you do in order to stay on top of things, in order to ensure that you are doing your research right? I strongly encourage you to subscribe to Wizako's newsletter. So the newsletter is a place where we have curated GMAT prep tips. We answer some common questions you might have about the GMAT itself and the registration process and so on. We walk you through different elements that constitute your application process. We have a section called MBA Program Alcove where we talk about different aspects of an MBA program that are discussion worthy. We will be eventually talking about specific MBA programs and highlighting them so that you doing part of your research through the newsletter as well. We have an event calendar where we are talking about the upcoming events, and then when deadlines are announced, we keep updating you. So again, pause the video if you will, scan the QR code, and you can sign up for Wizako's newsletter as well in order to stay tuned. And as I mentioned earlier, in the next video on next Sunday, we will talk about the do's and don'ts when it comes to networking with AdComs. And we'll share some tips, share some strategies that even though we have done a similar video before, we'll be sharing new stuff that are not there in that earlier video, so that together you have a more extensive understanding of how to approach your business school research. All right, that's it from me today. I will see you in the next week's video. Have an absolutely smashing week.